When I recorded one of my first videos about the Boss frame, I got a lot of people saying that, hey, this looks a lot like the Floss frame, and this looks like a lot like the Mode 2 Ghost frame. Well, I didn't know what a Mode 2 Ghost frame was, so I looked it up. This is what the Mode 2 Ghost frame looks like. And Mode 2 is the brand, and Ghost is the model. And it's usually, you can find this guy out on the web answering questions. His name is RC Addict. Anyway, of course, you know, it wasn't a few days after finding this that this thing showed up on Banggood. This is the Hantu 5-inch. And, you know, I'm not a real big fan of the companies actually taking the same pieces and cloning it, you know, piece for piece. But I don't think it's quite so bad when they use it as a strong inspiration, and you know some of the pieces aren't compatible between the two frames. Anyway, I saw this, so I picked one up. It is actually, it says it's made by FlamigoRC, but it's called the Hantu 5-inch. So we'll get this open up and take a look at it. Inside the box is one giant bag with all the pieces in it, and there's really not a lot to these ultralight frames. In this case here we have the upper plate, the lower plate, the forearms, and we got a bag full of steel screws, some spacers, and some 3D printed pieces for your run cam and for your antenna. And it also came with hot glue. I'm not really sure what this is for or why they included it, but I did not get a hot glue gun, unfortunately. As far as the hardware goes, it comes with 4 20mm spacers, comes with 6 6mm screws, 10 10mm screws, and then comes with 6 lock nuts, so it's already not going to be put together the same as the original frame because it's missing 2 lock nuts. But it does have what looks to be almost the exact same 3D printed pieces, and these are actually available on Thingiverse. It has the rounded top there just like the original and a smooth bottom, but it doesn't look like it's near as good of quality of a print. But here's the other spacer too, and again this one looks just like the one that's available out on Thingiverse. So here's a frame fully assembled, and this thing looks awesome. I mean, the pictures don't do it real justice. Now, this being the clone, these are not TPU. These are something else. Watch here, I'll even put a little force on this. Oh, whoops. Okay, so they said on the description, don't try to bend these because you'll break them. Now, I wasn't real concerned about breaking this one because I tried to slide it over top of the posts. I really didn't expect that to break. I tried to slide over top the post, but it's too tight. It wouldn't fit around there. And this stuff is so brittle that I thought if I push too hard, it's going to break it. Now, I did flip the quad upside down and pound on it a couple of times to try to get the spacers to slip in here. Yeah, that didn't happen. So this back one is pretty much no good. And like I said, this is not TPU. I don't know what this is. It could be PLA, but it's kind of a junky PLA if it is. Also, up here on the front, it has these extra spacers, but like, look at this. This is the spacer itself, and it just flops around on here very easily. So you're not going to want to use these spacers. This one, oh gosh, look at that. It just flips around and just spins. Okay, so you don't want to use these spacers. This one here is a little bit tighter, but again, this is just super, super brittle, being some kind of cheap PLA. So if you are planning to buy this, you may as well just plan on printing a set of those, printing a set of these for yourself, or having a friend who has them, or buy them off of the Mode 2 frame website, because those ones that came on here are just no good. Let's go ahead and get the weight off of this frame, and it comes in about 58.3. Now if I put this broken connector on there, camera holder, it goes up to almost 60 grams, 59.6, almost 60 grams. And so getting the frame into the sub 60 gram category is really a big deal. And this one achieves it, which is not surprising since the one it was cloned after also comes in under 60. The Hantu frame runs 5-inch props just fine, and they have no problem clearing the spacers up here for the body, and also from front to back it's so long it's not going to have any problems there either, and they're not even coming close here in the middle. Here I have the ruler, and if we measure it from corner to corner, it comes in about 214 millimeters or so. From front to back, it comes in about 162 millimeters. From side to side, it comes in just shy of 140, maybe about 139. These arms, they come in at 4 millimeters, and on the width side, they're about 11.5 millimeters or so. Inside the body comes up to be about 24 millimeters. The bottom plate's about 3 millimeters. The top plate's about 2 millimeters. The space in between the spacers is about 23.6 millimeters. Down here on the bottom, it has the hole spacing for a 20 by 20 flight board. Also, it has the spacing for a 30.5 by 30.5 flight board, which is very nice because, like I said before, the 20 by 20s are eventually going to take over. Also, there should be enough room to run a battery strap up here across the front and another one back here through the bottom underneath your flight board. Now, if you're using the 20 by 20, you're going to have to use a little bit thinner battery strap, but they'll still fit. And the big advantage of having two battery straps is your battery does not come off, even in bad crashes. Now, the website said that this was supposed to come with a battery strap, but this one, of course, doesn't have one. The biggest difference between this frame and the original frame is this one has the 4 lock nuts that go into the inner screw holes on each arm, and then it has the spacers that come down straight to the arm. Now, the original one has extra set of nylon spacers that go underneath here, and they attach to the screw, and the screw actually goes up through them up into the spacers up above. Now, if you're going to do that with this one, you're going to have to take out these 10 millimeter screws and probably get something closer to like 16 or 20, depending on how much thread you want to go into the spacers. If I was telling you what to do, I'd say get the 20s. The more thread you have inside there, the less chance it has of bending off in a bad crash. RC Addict made several printable pieces for the Ghost frame, including this top piece here, and this is actually downloadable on Thingiverse, and I'll have a link to this down in the description. But this has holes here on the side that you can mount your run cam in here and point it up, and you can probably get close to 50 degrees out of it. This has the holes here that would mount down over top of your lock nuts on the top and the front of the frame, and back here in the back the spacers would come up and you would mount it down to the spacers back here in the back. So the question is, does this fit on the clone frame? Well, the answer is no. On the original frame, the distance between these two screws here, these two outer ones, is about 25 millimeters. On this frame though, this is about 29 millimeters. So it becomes a little bit too wide for the top, or for the canopy to fit on top of here. Also, from front to back, on the original frame, it's about 78 millimeters, maybe 77, and on this frame it's actually 76, so it's a little bit short. So to make this fit, you'd have to, you have to push this down real hard like I did here, and then these top pieces here are kind of angled out at the bottom, which is not ideal. And also, you'd have to do some kind of bendable work back here to try to get this thing to fit in there if you were going to. Or maybe you could try to heat it up in a microwave, and when it get warm enough and pliable enough, you could stretch it out. You know, if you're gonna buy this frame specifically for this canopy, you're better off just buying the original and not having to deal with any of that. You're also giving support back to RC Addict and hopefully encouraging him to make more of these top plate canopies like this, because this thing is freaking awesome. So this is the Hantu frame from Banggood, and this is designed, like I said, originally after Mode 2's Ghost frame. Now, one thing that's going to help keep people from saying this is a clone is they put the lock nuts on the inside of the arms instead of out here on the outside. Then people would say, oh, it's a floss frame. Oh, it's a, that's a floss clone. Well, it is also good to see that this was not actually copied from the original designs, and you can tell for sure because of the spacing for the screw holes here and front to back. And the nice thing about that for the original designer is it keeps things like this original 3D printed pod from fitting on top of the clone. So that's good for them, bad for people who were expecting to use it on their frame. Anyway, the Hantu frame from Banggood. If you have any questions about this, leave them down in the description and I will help you out as best I can. And oh my gosh, I can just see all the clone comments coming now. Anyway, thanks for watching. I still don't know what this is for.